process is on, and we are all getting the fee. There are some crucial and critical issues that we needed to address. Some security-wise. So those who are in charge of addressing the press conference today had to go on the field to stabilize some things. But we are happy that you patiently waited for us. It shows the level of interest that you have in the transformation of our country going forward, and not only personally as it relates to Senator Dillion. I want to say thank you to all of our partisans who are here to witness this press conference. A few days ago, we call you people and inform the public after viewing ballot boxes that arrived by the Rabat International Airport, whose seals were broken. Those boxes, many of which were open. A night after, another set of ballot boxes arrived and was switched to another terminal, and that terminal lights went off automatically. And then these boxes were offloaded the plane and brought to NEC office. We don't know for what reason. At this time, where NEC should be an institution championing transparency and an institution of integrity, as the governance, the peace, and stability of our country depends on the performance of the NEC, will be doing things in the dark. This is worrisome. The last time I said here, NEC has become an instrument that threatens our democracy. Or for the better way to put it, NEC is allowing herself to be used to threaten the peace and stability that we are enjoying. Today we are here with some brand new information for you and the public. And alongside with me to address some of these issues will be the head for our security team, Mr. Samuel Zabe, and the Secretary General of the Council of Petra, Mr. Moroba Yobo, who will address issue of security as it relates specifically to pool washing. Again, we have taken some few steps in the midst of all that are happening. To date, the National Election Commission have failed to live up to its own calendar of events without any regard or consideration to stakeholders like us in the electoral process. For example, the timeline that was given for the production of the sample ballot papers was never done until we flagged it, and just a day ago, that sample ballot paper, just yesterday in fact, that sample ballot paper was released. The FRR, the long-awaited FRR, was also just released today, with just 2 days to the elections. And I think that NEC actions are intentional. It's intended to aid and abet this government to fraud the elections. The Supreme Court ruled the last time that the NEC, the National Election Commission, in conjunction with the political parties, should jointly clean the voter roll. The Supreme Court ruling was very clear. It requires the participation of the political party in the cleaning up of the voter roll process. To the best of our recollection, the NEC has proceeded solely with all the involvement of political party participation. This leads us to believe that there are alterations taking place by the NEC action on the voter roll cleanup process. They are altering the voter roll in our back with all the participation of political party. This we believe is a clear and flagrant violation of the election laws and guidelines of the National Election Commission. We read chapter 3.19 and chapter 3.20. The laws are here. We take copies of the law, so we're going to provide you some of this evidence so that you see it. Chapter 3.6 of the National Election Commission law also requires that voter roll be made accessible to the public for inspection at the magistrate office without any fees or any day in a week, during any day in a week at office hour, during office hour. After weeks of requests to the National Election Commission, if not months, just yesterday, 2 days to the closing of campaign, NEC produced something I call the FRR, the final registrar roll. 2 days to the close of campaign. This is a strategy by the NEC to delay the presentation of the FRRs so that it put us at a disadvantage, so that we don't have time in our favor to carefully examine the FRR, and thereby giving a very easy lead route to the NEC to collaborate with this government to fraud the system. Because we don't have a lot of time to examine the FRR and to know the duplication of names and those or names on the ballot, all those names within the FRR that may appear 2 or 3 times. At the end of the day, NEC will only use these and many others to include the additional of prison centers that does not exist. In actuality, NEC will use all of those means to fraud and do what they want to do to help this government accomplish or our initial funding, in fact, has shown that many prisons have exceeded 3,000 persons without any specific notification to stakeholders like the CPP, and this is very troubling, meaning that the law of our land is being recklessly again violated by NEC without no consideration or notice to those of us that are stakeholders. I will give you a few examples. We are still doing the analysis of what they released. The YMCA Nekrestan prison in district number 2. And all the prison I will name is just for district number 2. But there are similar things happening in district number 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 16, 15. All these places are where they went above the 3,000 margin. District number 2, the Nekrestan prison, have 3,368. So there's an additional 368 registered voters at that prison. The MVTC prison in district number 2 have 4,346. So there's an additional 1,346 registered voters. Carrie Chapel AGR School prison in district number 2 had 5,682. So there's an additional 2,682. Imagine if all of the 488 prison have an increasement on an average of 500. You will see what will actually happen at the end of the day. This NEC is doing This is why they intentionally delay the releasing of the FRR. We want for the public to know, we want for our international partner to know that NEC has become a dangerous instrument in our democracy. This NEC, this corp of officer at the Election Commission has become very dangerous to the peace and stability of this country. And we think Madam Dillion Brown and Oga Lefraud Sion, who fraud the process last year and gave District 15 to CDC and was rewarded to be a commissioner today and set to manage the data of NEC, speaks to everything that we are saying here, that they are facts and truth. Also, this is our position for the collaborating political party. We see the deliberate and reckless disregard for the laws of Liberia and the lack of awareness by the NEC on the proposed proposition being forward for referendum at the same time of this crucial election exposes the National Election Commission continuous attitude of aiding and abetting this government to injure the democracy and threaten the peace of our country. This information that we are providing, we have communicated to NEC, we have communicated to our international partners and to the Ministry of Justice, so that our partners like the American Embassy, the United Nations Secretary General Representative Office here in Monrovia, the European Union and other international partners can be aware about the role this election commission is playing. They are endangering the peace and democracy that people have wasted their sweat and blood for in this country. We'd like to call on our head of security for this campaign team, Mr. Saint Zabi, who will give our people, amidst all of the effort NEC is employing to fraud this system, give them some hopes that we were well prepared for this kind of thing, because we knew that at the end of the day, this government that has recklessly and desperately performed will not be able to get the people mandate come December 8th. So we knew that the next option was to work with NEC to fraud the process. There are more information, but our people should be very hopeful that we are well prepared for anything and that their votes will count. Every single vote will count. Nobody will steal this election, not even NEC, not President Weah, not Nathaniel McGay, not Samuel Tue, not anybody. You can name all of them. None of them will steal this election. Weah have put his neck on the line again like he did for Polita Weah. And we flog him. The same President Weah is now on the line again. He is on the ballot. And the Liberian people will defeat him come December 8th. Before I close, I would like here for our security, Zabi to brief our people on some measures, and it will be followed by Mr. Yobo, who will speak specifically to who watching security, so that our people can be assured that amidst all that is happening, we are well ready and prepared. Mr. Zabi?
Thank you very much, Mr. Manager, and I want to say thank you to the press for coming. The very first thing I want to say here is this. I've been profiled by NSA and security apparatus, the police. I've been profiled, I know that. I know that my phone and other devices have been profiled, I know that. But we are here for the Liberian people. I want to use this time to tell our pool washers that they are being monitored. We have our own system in place. The reason why I've been profiled is because they know me being an ex-military personnel, and I also work with LIS and maritime law enforcement officer, and work as UNODC, that's the United Nations on Drugs and Crimes, and transnational crimes investigation, and the whole 9 yards. They know. But we are here to say that this particular elections, we are not going to play with it. And let them know that we are voting with our life. We are voting with our life. We are voting with our all. So we have placed a security system into place which we're not going to disclose to you. They are classified and they are restricted. But we want this government to know, and we want the Brown Lasana to know that we are not going to play fun with these particular elections. I am a guru in the Liberian law enforcement system, trained by the USA, Marine Corps, and SYC, they know. And we're going to act in line with the law. However, any act that has the propensity of provoking violence will be nullified, will be mitigated, will be terminated vehemently. And we're not going to play fun with that. So I just want to say that I'm not going to use this time to expose our security plan, no. But our pool washers, our supervisors, and our VIPs, they are being monitored by us, by the security section of this campaign management, and they should not be afraid. We want to also use this time to call on our voters. Drink enough water on the eve of elections. Go and vote. Go all out and vote, and stay there and maintain your vote count. Monitor your vote count. Protect your vote count. Protect your ballots. And we are going to make sure that we win these elections. We have already won, and we're going to win it. So whatever, we have intelligence going to place, okay? I'm telling you, my people, these guys, they know me, all right? We did the 3 cycles of intelligence, and he made the officers and the analysts. And as we get the information, we'll analyze them, and we know that this thing is happening this way, and the intent of this happening is because of XYZ. So we already analyzed that this particular NEC authority want to defraud the entire voting process come December 8, 2020. Liberia will be liberated, and we are doing everything humanly possible in line with the law. I can tell you that we advise our campaign management team to change the date of our launch, our campaign launch from Saturday to Sunday, because they said they were going to close their launch. We did that to avoid conflict. Now, tomorrow, they said they are going to have the candlelights. We want to tell the Liberian people, your children, tell them if they are seditious, warn them not to provoke peaceful citizens. We will not tolerate any act of violence coming from CDC. We will not tolerate, we will vehemently refute, demolish, and do everything humanly possible to do that. We have the capacity, and we're not going to tell you where we come from. So I would like to use this time to turn over to my colleague, my assistant in the security sector for this campaign, Mr. Yobo. He will talk on the issue of ballot protection. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Chairman, Martin Kola, David Blackie, Head on Media and Public Relations from the Zabe. I listened to the chairman, and he spoke on the issue of the blatant violation of our laws by the Elections Commission. And what is even more concerning is the fact that NERG is violating our own laws. It will be understandable that NERG is violating other laws, but the very laws that are the foundations of the existence of NERG are the very laws that they are violating, and that is even more concerning. But we'll deliberately now speak to those issues, because this government is not one that want to adhere to laws. They have a history of violating laws. They have succeeded in annexing the judiciary to the executive, and on a similar note, they've also made the legislature an extension of the president's cabinet. So we do have a very irresponsible government. So we do not trust them to lead anything, to run anything. So from a security standpoint, we have come to assure the Liberian people that everything now rests with them. You have to own this election. This is an assault on your freedom. This is an assault on your rights. A few members of the Wia Cabal, the Wia kleptocracy, have decided that they will subject you to untold suffering, poverty, and embarrassment. You have to stand up and tell Wia that this country is not his property, that you gave him the role to lead because you trusted that he will lead properly. But instead, he's taking on the singular responsibility to reduce it to beggars. And this is even more amplified when your Minister of Finance tells you that the only rationale for not reducing the pay of lawmakers is because you will have to go and beg lawmakers. You see, this government has consistently told the people of this country that you are bystanders. You are spectators. Honestly, we are not even spectators anymore because spectators are usually on the pitch, on the stadium. Right now, we're not even on the stadium, we're watching from afar. So this is your opportunity to stand up to George Weah and a few thieves who have come together to rob you for 3 years. And it is very interesting that this is just halfway in our leadership. This first half. Let's substitute George Weah people with our people. Your people. Your people. So I was called here by the chair of this campaign organizing committee, campaign coordinating committee, to speak exclusively to the issue of poll watching and how prepared we are to man our ballots. But you know something? No matter how prepared we are, it will ultimately rest with you, the voters, to protect your own votes. We have mechanisms in place. We have tracking devices of our poll watchers. They've been monitored. We have resources as we've been raising over time. The campaign chair is there, you can speak to that. The Friends of Dillion Liberia, Friends of Dillion USA, MADA, COP, you know, where many Liberians, some who prefer to not be named, anonymously they've donated to the campaign. And to some extent, we can tell you that we've raised up to 60-70% of resources needed to fund our poll watching initiatives. So we can guarantee that people are coming to poll watch and they will be compensated. But more than just that, what's even more interesting is that people are coming free of charge. Some people have told us and they've committed to poll watch free of charge. And that is more interesting. Why? Because they have delegated upon themselves the responsibility to protect our democracy. A democracy that has gradually eroded on account of a few individuals who think that we owe them more than they owe this country. Just real things we owe in this country, just real things Liberia owes him a lot. And that has to stop. It has to stop. They have plans to prevent voters from going to the polls. As a matter of fact, we have information that when you go to vote, they have CDC, voter identification officer, VROs, who will prevent you from entering the polling places because you don't have voter, you don't have marks, nose marks. So please, carry your nose marks. Keep one in your pocket. Keep one in your pocket. Go to the polling places with your nose marks. We are aware that this coronavirus is real, but we are also aware that this government is using it for ulterior motives, evidenced by the fact that $48 million is unaccounted for this very initiative, which witnessed the murder of Yeswa Emmanuel Batan. So we are very aware of the syndicate, but notwithstanding these facts, we are encouraging you to carry your nose masks. Have them in your pockets to access the pool places. You wear them, go inside. They will have no reason to do anything. They will have no reason. So we are encouraging all of you, go to vote in the morning, go early to vote. The people will lose the election. Thomas Fala is going to lose the election so miserably than Polita Weah did. And this information is an open information in the CDC camp. That is why over the last 4 days, you've seen that they've done little or nothing. They have lost steam. And we have picked up steam because we stand with the people. We represent the people's power.
So
that is what we stand for. So this steam, this vitality we've picked up, we're going to run this into tomorrow where we expect an avalanche of people, seas of people, oceans of people in the streets. Tomorrow the senator will mount the float at Liberia Party headquarters where we have in the press conference right now. He's going to be on a float with other executives of the CPP, and we're going to march through the principal streets of Monrovia from Cali Junction to ELW Junction, Boulevard, of course, that side, Dubois Road Junction, where we will have a mass gathering of residents from districts 3 and 4. And then we're going to pass through the police academy side, use that side, go to the Boulevard and 72nd Somala Drive, and then we're going to meet an avalanche of people trooping into Stephen Thomas Estate Junction. We're going to continue from there, New Georgia Junction, Banana First, New Georgia Chicken Factory, that whole stretch. Then those coming from Douala, Point Ford, Nickel Town, District 17. So it's 15, 16, 17. That whole side is going to come in the numbers, in the thousands, to Freeport. And then the senator is going to meet them there. We're going to have like 20, 30 minutes. We're going to dance around, celebrate the victory of democracy, celebrate the victory of light. And then we're all going to move to Central Monrovia, pass through Senghor, and climax the day at the Liberia Party headquarters. So this information is sending chills down the spine of an administration that has neglected their role for 3 straight years. The people are scared, they've lost. So they're sending fear tactics. Let me tell you something. My chairman here, Zabe, and I are informed of issues that they want to pass through us to send to the public. They say all kind of scary tactics to us. They want us to be the one to send it to the public, to scare you. But we train with better. With better. This man is a seasoned security expert. Seasoned, they know him. Myself, first degree criminal justice, so I know the criminal intent. So I know how people think criminally. So we know that. But when they give it to us, we determine the veracity of this information. We determine the threat levels to see if it's threat level 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, how important we should attach, ourselves to this information. We determine that, and we know that it's purely for propaganda purposes. We don't pay that much attention, but we are careful of their machinations. We know that these guys are treacherous. We know that they killed 4 auditors in 8 days. We know that Alexander Say was not shot by himself. We know that he was murdered in the Southeastern region. Alexander Say did not kill himself. This guy is a weapon expert. This guy was former ERU commander, former PSU commander. This guy trained people to use gun. This guy uses a 9mm. If he shot himself, any part of the body the shot went, it would have just exploded. They killed him. And that is why the Liberia police right now is angry. The police is on our side. The army is on our side. These guys have been marginalized. As we speak, the government has not really raised the resources to give to these police people for this election. We are going to win the election. The police will do their work. We are aware of some factions in the police that will want to do the president's bidding. We are aware. But guess what? We will overwhelm them. They're small. They're packets of partisan police. We will overwhelm them. And the army will always stand with the people. Always. So we are assuring you, tomorrow we are coming out to show to all of them that this election has been won by the people. Darius Dillion is the face of the people. Dillion will not win because he's a decent person, he's a nice person, he's this, that. I'll give you all of that. Dillion represents the vast majority of people who have been neglected by their government.
Yes. So.
He is a representation of the people who voted for George Weah. Let me tell you something. You think you are disenchanted. The Silesians are far more disenchanted. And that is why tomorrow they will come out in disguise. But on Tuesday, they will go and protest against the misrule of their leader, someone who they perceived to be the liberator, someone who they perceived to have humble beginning, who had the semblance of their upbringing, but who has disappointed them along the way, halfway along the finish line. These people will come out and they will sing a louder song, a song that George Weah will come to understand that he represents all of Liberia and not a particular base in the CDC. Since George Weah won the election, he's been president for CDC. That is why when George Weah goes to delegate very serious programs, very serious infrastructures in this country, very serious projects, he wears CDC on his face cap. You should not do that, you're president of Liberia. He went to delegate Kumatron Market, he got CDC on his cap. That is not a CDC project.
He's sick.
There's a man who has never outgrown his CDC upbringing. He forgets that he's president of Liberia. So every time he appeals to the CDC base. Meanwhile, the very CDC base is the most disgruntled and disenchanted base. So we are going to use the people's light, the people's power, the people's vote to bring them on board, to bring about a new people's revolution. And this country will see a new birth, a new beginning, a renaissance of political leadership and political governance. We are going to vote on Tuesday. We are going to win the election. By so huge a margin that has never been seen in this country. We're not talking about winning the election, we're talking about the margin. It's a margin. But everything rests with you, the people. So, I spoke with the chairman a while ago, just before he turned over to me, that the instruction to all of you, go and vote in the morning. The CDC want to plan to go vote first. Then my 2-3 can start causing chaos to the polling place and to keep you away. Guess what? We already heard that information. So what you do, you wrestle them to the pool. You wrestle them to the pool and go and fight for space to vote first. When you vote, you go home, get food, eat, rest a little bit. Around 5 o'clock, you come back to the polling place and sit and wait for the tally sheet to be posted on the wall. That is the strategy. You wait for them until they post the polling results on the wall. And in tally sheet, what is more interesting is that once the 2 leading candidates in any polling place don't sign the tally sheet, is invalid. That is the more interesting thing. So, for example, the 2 leading candidates in any polling place are entitled to the tally sheet. So they have to work on the in one room. And we study for I want to watch it in insanity in our valley. It's not. So before I want to watch sanity, they have to be sure that they are representing the vast majority of the Liberian population that want to vote. And they cross across beyond Monserrato, in Grand Paso, in Lofa, in Bomi, in Magidi, all over the place. We have to ensure that a louder message is sent to the CDC that they are misgoverning this country, they are misruling this country. They have to rise up. We don't want George Weah to fail. We don't want to. Because if he fails, our children fail. We have no shot at a better future. If he succeeds, the next president has a better foundation to start from. As much as we are in your position, our goal is not that he fails. But this man has neglected to lead, which is why he should be replaced. And this is an earlier signal that he will be replaced. Coming Chairman, I hate to go over this whole press conference. Here's your thing, but I'm emotional when it comes to the way people are mistreated by this government. So I want to thank you all for coming, Coming Chairman. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you. And that was the voice of the powerful Secretary General of the Council of Petra and the one that is leading and working along with our head for food washing, Mr. Augustine Frederick, to put into place the necessary security measure to protect our ballot. And he said one thing, we'd like to emphasize for our people that we launched about a month ago Citizen Protect Their Votes, where we got over 50,000 contacts, and we informed those contacts that immediately after voting, find food to eat and come back to the polling center and protect your vote, meaning that at the average you will have at least 500 human beings standing outside every polling center to protect their votes. That is how far we can tell you concerning the security. The rest of the details are left with us to execute And we know that NEC or this government may attempt, but they will not succeed.
No.
This is why we brought in the security expert and those who are putting into play measures to protect your vote, to assure you that come what may, amidst all of the circumstances, the last time I said go Nigeria, go Togo, go anywhere and pre-mark ballot and bring it. You will not use that pre-mark ballot. It will stay in Jamaican resort. It will not come. I want to be very clear. And tomorrow we know on Sunday there will be no facility that can host us, not even the SKD Sport Complex. They can't host us. So that is why we want to. Look, you're expecting 150,000 persons to come and say thank you to say that. You want to carry it to Sport Complex and take 25,000. We don't want to create a disaster. We want our people to live and vote. So we'll be touring, going around the world, I will call it, and people will be waving and telling you that they don't take it. Just explain the road to you that will be passing. Like you said, please keep a mask in your pocket when you come to vote. The ballot protective guard are well intact. Mrs. Abe has that under control. We want to increase it from 2,200 to about 4,000 ballot protector guard to make sure. Look, we don't trust. Look, we believe in the police. The police, they're going to vote. We believe in them. We believe in the soil. We don't believe in Patrick Sulu as a person. Patrick Sulu is a partisan of a CDC. The EPS director and the other folks, they wear barrier to go to CDC program. We don't believe them. We can put our ballot security in our hands like Patrick Sulu. Patrick Sulu is a partisan police director. So we don't believe it. So the citizens are going to protect their vote. Go to vote early. Please go to vote early. And next, you understand the scheme that they want to allow cell phone into that place. They shouldn't waste their time. They shouldn't waste their time. Let me say that vote number 2 on the ballot, Senator Dillion, the light, is number 2 on the ballot. Vote number 2. Finally, I would like to close with this statement. The government of the Republic of Liberia, headed by George Weah, and the Liberian National Election Commission understands the power of the people. So in all that they are doing, this government understands the risks and the consequences associated with fraud in this election. We have informed our partner that as we foster peace and engender peace, we will have no control over the will of the people. They will protect their ballot. They will ensure that this victory come to teach this government a lesson that when people give you an opportunity, you should serve them and don't serve yourself. Thank you and God bless you. Thank you for coming.